back. Another beer ball and banter. This time though, we're sponsored by a beer brewery. This time we are sponsored. Shout out to Somewhere in Particular Brewing.
Hey, and you know what, Jake? Just because we're sponsored, we will not forget all the guys who helped get us to where we are. We still have a peasant. We're kings with peasant mindsets. So yeah, shout out to Somewhere in Particular. Sip Brewing, very very nice branding, very nice name. I'm really digging the label, Jake. We've got some nice high class pinky up cats skeletons. Looks like at a jazz party sipping martinis. What kind of beer we have going on over here, Jake?
We have a session IPA from called Easy Peasy. Great name. Love the name. But if you've never heard of Somewhere in Particular, Sip Brewery, it's a craft brewery located in Northwest Columbus. I've been there plenty of time. They, according to their bio, they've got stories, history, and now they're ready to be part of yours. Sip back and relax and enjoy the brewery.
I like that.
They offer a wide range of beers. They allow dogs, and they're open 7 days a week. Personally, I've been there plenty of times. Their pretzel and beer cheese is phenomenal. If you're ever in Columbus for an Ohio State football game, would highly recommend it. They've got a great patio. They have great people to work with. When I went and picked up the beer, they were so polite. They were awesome that, they might be back on another episode here really, really soon. Just a little teaser.
Yeah, and you know what, Jake? If they let dogs in there, that means when I come up to visit you in October, they'll let me come in. So we'll be good to go.
True. That is true.
And
So crack
open
our beer.
Another fun fact: Easy Peasy was my URL for my MySpace page back in the day. So this one hits home.
Don't watch me as I just did a terrible pour. So
that's all right. It's easy peasy. You can pour
not
it
easy peasy to pour.
It still goes down easy peasy though.
That is very, very true. So what are we talking about today? Well, first. I guess we actually got to review our beer first. Got to review the beer.
Yeah, let's see.
Out of a can because I got too much foam in mine first. So,
cheers.
So the way we're going to do these, we're going to give them a 1 through 5. Are we allowed to do decimals, or does it have to be like a solid number, like whole numbers, or are we going decimals?
Listen, we're just chatting with the boys. We're chopping it up. You can throw some decimals in there, whatever your heart desires. So I think you should go first with this being your homestead.
Yeah. So I love Sip Brewery. Now I will say I am not the biggest IPA fan. There are some out there that I do really love. This one though, it's interesting. 4.2% alcohol ABV, with cryo citra hops. I have no idea what that means, and I'm not even going to try to pretend I know what that means.
I'll tell you what it means, Jake. Citra means you're going to get a fruity finish. They probably did that towards the end. And they have mosaic, which mosaic is the old school. It's what gives it the bitterness. So of the IPA. Go ahead. I just kind of steamrolled you a little bit, Jake. I'm sorry.
I think it's a really good beer. I really love it, but like I said, I'm not a big IPA person. I think I'm gonna go 3.9. It's right there. If I liked IPAs though, I think this would be a lot higher for me.
We need to track these. Let's write this down. 3.9 easy peasy. At Sip Brewing.
So,
you know what, Jake?
What do you think?
I like IPAs. I like every beer except for sours. I'm gonna go and get out in front of it. And I also prefer beers that taste like beer. Don't you go throwing all that mumbo jumbo in there. But you do what you want to do. I'll still drink it. I'll have one. My 2 favorite beers are free and a lot. So this is my favorite beer because it's free. So shout out Sip Brewing again, Columbus, Ohio. And IPAs, summertime's perfect. A session IPA is perfectly light. You don't get that intense flavor that you get with like a New England IPA. I'm not a big West Coast IPA guy. That's too bitter. This is perfect. It's got just enough fruity taste to it that I'm like, man, okay, I've got the IPA taste, but it's smooth enough like a Pilsner or a session. I have a similar grade, Jake. I think I'm going to go with a 3.8. So it wouldn't be my favorite, but I would drink this after cutting the grass. If I had my white Nike Monarchs on, that would pair perfectly with this beer after cutting the grass. Would not drink this during the winter. So that's where it gets a little bit of a knock there, but this is a great tasting beer. And you know what it pairs really well with, Jake? Talking college football and over-unders.
Talking college football. Would you get a second? If you bought this, would you get a second one, or would you be looking would you want to taste something different for the palate, or would you be like, nope, this is good, I want another one?
I'd run it back. Had I had like all the ones that I wanted to try, I would run this one back for sure. This. Honestly, Jake, I'm gonna go to a 4. I'm going to a 4. Flat even 4.
The taste out of the glass is better than it is out of the can. I will say that. I think the taste out of the glass raises it to a 4 for me, but out of the can, I would say it's 3.9, 3.8. So I'm right there with you. I think we've got a similar vibe there. But yeah, we're talking over-unders. College football. What do you bet on for college football in the middle of July? You can't really bet on games because you got a while. So we might as well talk about, some over-unders. We threw this question out on Twitter. We asked for people to give us random teams. I'm not guaranteeing that we know anything about these teams.
Nope.
And honestly, at the same time, I'm going to be looking up their schedule because, shockingly, I don't know Wyoming's schedule off the top of my head.
Wow. So you don't know ball, Jake, and you just admitted it. But that's okay. I do know it by heart, and I could recite it to you perfectly. Would you like?
Who do they play in week 6?
Air Force, the Air Force Falcons. I love America, so I would know that.
They play them on Saturday. It's a night game.
I may be looking at the schedule, but to the people, this is podcasting. You don't know.
Exactly. So Wyoming is the first one we got here. They are listed at 6.5, and I don't know. What's your heart tell you? What's your heart tell you on 6.5 for Wyoming?
So let me see. 1, 2, 3. I think I have them right at 6. I think they have a couple of swing games. I think Arizona State is a game they can win. I think Arizona State is in shambles right now. Idaho, BYU. I think BYU is a swing game. I think they have a good shot at being BYU.
Wyoming has won games against Power 5 teams in the past, so this isn't like a foreign concept. Now, didn't Craig Bowl retire?
Yes, I think so. And they went down to the wire with Texas, I believe. Was it last year?
They
or
did.
2 years ago? You know what, Jake? I do. Wyoming's one of those teams I really like. I sneaky just pull for. So I'm going to go with the over just because I want to pull for them to win. So I'm going to go at least 7 wins for our Wyoming Cowboys out of Laramie, Wyoming.
So I don't think they beat Arizona State. I don't think they beat BYU. They also have Washington State, the faux, Mountain West team this year. I don't think they beat Boise State. Like, my gut is telling me under. Like, that's where my gut is leaning. And, if I was a betting man, and I am, and honestly, maybe I just throw it out on Twitter and tell people, Wyoming over under, and then whatever people choose is what I bet.
Put this out there. You should put this out on the socials. What our guesses are. We know ball, Jake. We're talking about Wyoming football in July, so you can't find that anywhere else.
I'm gonna throw it on the internet because let's see if the people know ball, and maybe I'll just throw money on it. With what they say. But I'm going to go under. I think there's just a couple too many games on here that I think they're going to lose. Air Force is always a tough game. Like Arizona State, BYU, Air Force, and Washington State are just 4 tough games. Boise State's going to be pretty good. That's 5 if I think they're going to lose all of those. I just don't see them getting to 7 this year. Next one we got here, Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky is a pretty good team. Tyson Helton, I believe, is still the head coach there. And they've been pretty good under him. Their win total for this year is sitting at 7.5. Now, I'm pulling up Tyson Helton's career, and he's only lost 6 or 5 or more games. My bad. He has only had a losing record once in his career. Other than that, he's gone 9, 9, 9, and 8.
Very German. 999.
Yes. Do you think that he finds a way to get to 8 wins again this year?
Absolutely. They're going to beat Alabama week 1.
That was very confident.
I mean, well, look at when you're looking at like in the group of five. Jay, at least when I look in the group of five, I look at trends and I look at consistency. And Western Kentucky is always in a bowl game. They like you said, they have their coach. He's got a winning pedigree. Like I'm confident. I don't need to know anything else. I mean, I think they're going to be a really good football team. I think they can win 8 games. I'm going Western Kentucky.
I think there's 4 easy wins here without question. I think Eastern Kentucky, Sam Houston State, Kennesaw State, and Middle Tennessee. Because Middle Tennessee also is replacing their coach. New Mexico State does not have Diego Pavia this year. That's an interesting one. Louisiana Tech, we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Jacksonville State, Rich Rod, that's a tough game. You know, I think Tyson Helton is a really good coach. I think he's going to go over 7.5 wins as well.
Nice. Hey, we're
heading to the heading to the MAC. Heading to the MAC, and still enjoying my session IPA. Shout out Sip Brewing. Make sure you go.
Hey, you know what I like the most about this beer, Jake, is every time I take a sip, it tastes better.
It is. It tastes even better every time. It goes down really smooth.
That's right, like Keystone.
The one thing I'll say is anybody wants to send us like double IPAs and triple IPAs, I think I'm good on those. Those are a bit too hoppy for me. Maybe it's just, but if it's free beer, I'll probably drink it. Just don't expect me to give you a good rating if I don't like double IPAs.
Hey, but I'll shout you out. I'll drink the hell out of it. And you know what? The people can try to prove us wrong. They can try to tell us why they think your double IPA should be ranked higher. Fun fact on how I started to like double IPAs or IPAs in general, Jake. I used to hate IPAs. And my wife's from Vermont, where New England IPAs reign supreme. I was visiting. We were at a restaurant, Farmer's Table, I think it's called. And I had to go to the bathroom. So I asked my wife's best friend, her name's Alex. I said, Alex, order me a beer. I don't like IPAs, anything but an IPA. I came back.
Got you an IPA?
I came back, took a sip of the beer. I was like, wow, I love this beer. What is it? She goes, oh, it's Sip of Sunshine. It's a double IPA. And I was like, whoa, okay. Maybe I do like IPAs if I'm drinking a double IPA and enjoying it. And the rest is history. But I do still prefer lagers, pilsners, the German-esque.
The German-esque. What do you think of Oktoberfest beers?
Love them. Love them.
I can do them in the fall, but if you handed me one, in the spring or whatnot, I'd be like, it's out of season for me.
All right, these are my seasons. Would I drink it watching football? Yes. Would I drink it after cutting the grass? No. Those are the only 2 things I need to know, because you don't cut your grass during football season, and you don't watch football during cutting grass season. So those are the 2 seasons throughout the year for beer drinking.
We cut our grass in the fall.
Yeah, we don't. It goes dormant here. We had our neighbors at home in Sumter. They're from Michigan, and they freaked out when their grass went brown in the fall, and they thought that they had done something wrong. My parents were like, nope, it happens every year.
It's just called Bermuda grass, and it goes dormant when it
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
Jake. We know grass.
Hey, I work in grass. That is my actual job.
Legal grass. Let's go ahead and get ahead of that.
Yes, legal. Like actually your lawns. Toledo's the next one. We head to the MAC. 8.5 wins for Toledo. Duquesne, UMass, Mississippi State, Western Kentucky are the first 4 games out of the gate for them. And very ebbs and flow with that. You got Duquesne and UMass way down here. Then you kind of shoot up with an SEC team. And then we just talked about Western Kentucky. Then you got the whole MAC schedule, 8.5 wins.
Well, to go back to last week, College Football Home, the Twitter page, had Toledo or Miami of Ohio being the participant in the college football playoff because they won their respective leagues and were the best group of 5 team. I don't think Toledo is going to be that team. I think they fall to Miami of Ohio. I think they fall to Western Kentucky. UMass is not. I forget the coach's name. He's got them going in the right direction. I think they beat the crap out. Yeah,
Don Brown's 77 years old.
He knows ball though, Jake. He's a tough guy. He brings in that Minutemen mentality.
I'd hope so. If he was in football 50 years, he better know ball.
Yeah, he knows some ball. Duquesne is going to get crushed. This isn't March Madness. I think the over-under is a little hefty for me. I might have to go with the under.
The MAC is a weird conference, especially in the age of the transfer portal, because nobody knows what you're going to get. Daquan Finn is out. He went to Baylor. So nobody's really sure what you're going to get and who's going to step up. For instance, a program like Ohio had Curtis Rourke, who left, but Ohio with Curtis Rourke was pretty darn good. Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, Akron's probably not going to be very good.
Where did
Northern
Curtis Rourke
Illinois,
go?
Northwestern?
No, I was just. What's Big Ten team? I think. Hold on, I'll have to look it up. All right, keep going. Sorry.
You just don't know what you're going to get out of it. So there's teams that step up all the time. Miami, Ohio tends to be, at least in the middle to upper half of the conference. But sometimes the conference champion has like 8 wins because they lose 2 games out of conference and they lose 2 games in conference to go 8-4.
Right.
So
Indiana, by the way, is where Curtis Rourke went. Indiana.
That is. So I think the loss of Daquan Finn's too much. I'm going to go under as well. We're boring.
Toledo from 1 to G's.
Kansas State 9.5 wins. If you watched our Big 12 preview this week or listened to it, you would have heard everything that we wanted to talk about with Kansas State this week. So if you want to deep dive on Kansas State, go listen to that with CF Budge.
CF Budge, shout out. Hey, we're talking to the future right now. This comes out Friday. This is Tuesday. This is actually pretty insane, Jake. We're time traveling right now.
We are time traveling. So we've got Kansas State, Avery Johnson, and a whole stable of players on that offensive defense with Chris Kleiman. What do you think? 9.5? Are they going to get to 10 wins in the regular season?
God, it's like they know what they're doing when they set these over-unders. Iowa State, Kansas, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Arizona are all swing games for me. And that would put them right at 8 wins if they lose all those. I think they win at least 2 of them. So I have them at 10 wins. So I'm going to have to go with the over. I know, guys, I only have 1 under team, but, Daddy loves a good over. I'm sorry,
I'm right there with you. If you listen, spoiler, I have Kansas State in my conference championship game. I don't think they lose any out-of-conference games. Speaking of, who are even their other out-of-conference games? UT Martin, Tulane.
Oof.
They schedule a Pac-12 team as a non-conference game in this? It wouldn't shock me.
I was just looking at their schedule. BYU, Arizona. Oh, no. Those aren't Pac-12 teams anymore. This is confusing, guys. Sorry. We do know Block, Thomas.
One of them are probably a non-conference game. The question is, which one is it? And I have no idea who it is. So, anyways, I think Arizona on a Friday night, at least they get them home. West Virginia on the road in middle October, that is the one I have circled as I think they lose this game. I think that's a tough game on the road in West Virginia. Don't be surprised if that ends up being a 3:30 game or even a potential night game. And then at least they end the season pretty easily with Arizona State, Cincinnati, and Iowa State could be tough. But I think that back-to-back of West Virginia and Kansas could be where they slip up. I'm going to think they get to 10 wins, but don't be surprised if that's 9. That's it's not a big endorsement of 10 wins.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's not a very confident over.
Colorado 5.5. Does Coach Prime make it to a bowl game?
I think Coach Prime wins 1, 2, 3, 4 Super Bowls this year. I think I got them at 4.
That's a lot of Super Bowls.
Yep. So, every game, all their games are people's Super Bowls, according to Shador. So, I'm going to have to go with 4 Super Bowls for Colorado. So,
I think they beat North Dakota State. I think they beat Colorado State. I think they beat Cincinnati. I think they beat Texas Tech.
Uh-oh.
See, Baylor and UCF are toss-up games for me, and so is Nebraska, because I want to believe in Nebraska so bad, but they just seem to let their fan base down every year. If you're a Nebraska fan, I feel so bad for you.
Jake, this is the year. This is the year.
Scott Frost. They can trash Scott Frost as much as they want, but that one year where they went like 3-9 and 8 of their losses were by like 4 points or less, and the other game was by 9.
That's gut wrenching.
Like that is brutal. Every week that your team is in it, and there is like 1 or 2 plays that just wreck you. Now, granted, some of it's coaching because your own coach calls a onside kick for no reason whatsoever.
He hit the wrong button. Jake, would you rather get blown out or would you rather lose by like Nebraska?
Now, would I rather get blown out every single week?
Would you rather Oklahoma State or would you rather Nebraska? And if you go back to our other episode, we talk about how all of Oklahoma State's losses last year were double digits, like just blowout losses. Would you rather lose like that, be out of it, you're emotionally out of it quick, or would you rather be in it the entire time? I know my answer, but you go ahead.
If my team is underperforming for the year, like let's say like Nebraska that year, I think I would have rather just gotten my teeth kicked in and just ended it early rather than just like bring me along, and then like stupid play happens and we lose. Like I don't know if I could mentally handle that every single week.
So as a Clemson fan, I did that last year and the year before. I'm a sicko. I would rather it be a close game every single time. I'd rather be just in it the entire time. I'm a disgusting, deplorable human being.
I'm an animal with rabies. Just put me down. Just put me down. Like
use them as fertilizer.
Not deal with this. Like let's not drag me along and think that rabies are gonna go away. No, they don't. Like they don't. Like just put me down.
Let them down easy, folks.
I think Colorado. I think they get there.
You're primed up.
I think they get to 6 wins. I think they get to 6 wins. I know. I believed in last year. I bet on them to go to make a bowl game last year. I think they get there. Another year, Shador is actually a really good quarterback, and he gets a lot of hate. He gets a lot of hate, and deservingly so, but he is actually a very good quarterback. He only had 3 interceptions last year.
That's insane.
He had 3 interceptions. He had 30 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I don't think people realize how insane that ratio is in today's college football because of how much people pass the ball. Now, granted, he got sacked like 80,000 times. So, he would have gotten a few more passes off. But a 30 to 3 touchdown interception ratio is actually an insane stat line because guys are throwing usually 1 interception a game or 1 interception for every 2 out of 3 games. It's hard for a quarterback to finish a season with less than 5 interceptions if they played all year.
Well, not even that, Jake. Like they were playing from behind most of the year. Like so, he's having to air it out. He's having to take risks. So the fact that he only threw 3 interceptions, that is, you're making me want to start to dabble on that over. But I stand on business. I'm staying with the from under cheese. So yeah, okay. Are we gonna put anything on this?
Probably should.
We should put something on this. We'll think about it. You know what? We'll put it out on Twitter. We'll put out this over under, and then we'll ask the people what we should do, what we should wager. How about that?
Yeah, sounds good. Cynically, we're on to Nebraska. Just leads in perfectly.
Yeah.
And Nebraska, I mean, eventually they got to break through and make a bowl game, but they're listed at 7.5, which like they haven't made a bowl game since before Scott Frost was hired. Like, is this the year they actually make a bowl game? And not only with picking this, like, are they making a bowl game? Are they comfortably making it to a bowl game with a true freshman quarterback there too?
Jake, I think they can win 9 games at least with this schedule.
Dude, you are not only are you drinking the Kool-Aid, you're making it too.
I'm all up in that Matt Rule-Aid. I'm loving it. 9, maybe 10 wins, 9 wins. I love Matt Rule as a college coach. He did a great job at Temple. He did a great job at Baylor. He came to the Panthers and made me hate him. But now I'm trying to get that stink off of me. But, Jake, listen to their first 7 games. UTEP, that's a win. Colorado, that's a prove it, but I think it's a win. Northern Iowa, a good FCS team, but it's a win. Illinois, a win. Purdue, a win. Rutgers is going to be tough, but it's not in Piscataway. I love that name. That might be the best name of a city in college football. And it's their homecoming game. They have a bye week. Then they go to Indiana. I think they're 7-0 going to Columbus, which Daddy might be there. A little spoiler. Little spoiler. Daddy might be in Columbus for that one.
We might be doing a home and home here really soon.
Little home and home. Little Ohio State this year, Clemson next year.
Yeah, we're might be doing a little home and home action rather than neutral site games. We're not up for neutral site games.
Yeah. So, and I'm trying to decide if I should get an Ohio State paraphernalia to wear to the game. I don't know. We'll see. I used to hate Ohio State, Jake. You've actually made me start to pull for them just a little bit. I still don't like Ryan Day's face. That can't change. I do not like Ryan Day's face. Y'all have not had a coach I like their face in a very long time. I didn't like Jim Tressel's face.
What was wrong? He was the senator. What was wrong with Jim Tressel?
Didn't like Jim Tressel's face.
What about Luke Fickell for his whole 12 games?
Love Luke Fickell. If he was there, if they had hired him, I would be an Ohio State fan through and through. But Urban Meyer didn't like his face.
What about Larry Johnson, the one game that he coached because Ryan Day had COVID?
Great face. Larry Johnson, perfect face for coaching Ohio State. But all the coaches who have been mainstays, I don't like their faces. I just don't. I'm being honest with you, Jake. As a guy, you're going to let me into your house. I have to be upfront with you about how I feel about your coaches' faces. So you can go and tell me how much you love Dabo's face.
Don't.
That's all right. Everybody loves Dabo.
Okay.
I think 9.
Okay, I think 9 is ambitious.
That's all right.
I think they are 6-1 when they play Ohio State. I think they trip up there. I don't have faith in Nebraska actually going undefeated through that stretch. True freshman quarterback is what does it for me. I don't actually think that they can do it. I think Raiola can be really, really good, but he's going to have a slip-up game. Don't be surprised if that's Purdue. Ryan Walters is a defensive-minded coach. Greg Schiano.
Yeah,
I know people want to say that it's Rutgers, but this Rutgers team is getting better.
Rutgers is tough, and they're recruiting good.
Indiana, I would not be shocked if Indiana pulls an upset or two this year. They brought in a lot of guys from James Madison, a lot of guys, and that team was pretty good last year. I mean, James Madison was undefeated for a little bit. There was talk about them, potentially trying to, be the Group of 5 team before they eventually stumbled. But
what's the coach's name? The Klingon or whatever?
Signetti. Kurt Signetti.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Klingon. I love Curtis Rourke there at Indiana. I love Curtis Rourke. Had he not got hurt, I think Ohio would have been one of those teams that made some noise last year. But
Kalen Black was at Madison last year, rushed for over 1,300 yards. They've got some decent guys here on this team that have a playing experience. So Miles Prince has over 1,700 yards in his career. I think that one could be tricky. Now I think they win. I do think they win, but I don't think this is just going to be a clean walkthrough. I don't think they're going to blow many of these teams out. I think even if they win, you're talking about the reverse of a couple of years ago where they would win it. They lost every game by, 6-7 points. I think they win a lot of these games by 6-7 points. That's even Purdue. That's even Illinois. It's a lot of defensive-minded coaches. Brett Bielema, very defensive-minded coach. I know he did good things up at Wisconsin, but Illinois has been pretty good defensively since he got there. So we'll see. But I think they go 6-1. They lose to Ohio State. They beat UCLA. The question is, USC, Wisconsin, Iowa, do they win one of those?
That's tough.
So it puts them 7-2. Yeah.
Do it, Jake. Do it, Jake. Do it. Just do it.
No, I don't have faith. I'm going to say under. I'm sorry, Nebraska fans. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What Big Red? Go Big Red.
Hey, what did Ricky Bobby say? If you don't like Big Red.
I don't remember. I haven't seen the movie forever.
I
saw it in theaters.
He said F you.
I saw it in theaters, but it's been a minute since I saw it.
I saw it in theaters with my grandma's friends. It was really awkward when they talked about the ice hard nipples. So that was a little shock.
That's not a movie I would ever say, you know what? Especially hindsight. Let me go watch this with my family. Especially if I was 13, I would feel very awkward. It's the intimate scenes with a man and a woman in any sort of thing where you're oh, they're making out and mom and dad are sitting on the couch next to me. Cool.
Yeah. Yep. So I've been in that situation a time or two. I went to see The Hangover with my mom. I saw Talladega Nights with, like I said, my grandma's friend. I watched Caddyshack with my dad, and my grandma walked in.
Are you excited to do that with your kids one day? Like
Watch intimate scenes.
Purposely take them to a movie makes them uncomfortable.
Hold on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get in front of this. I am not looking forward to watching intimate scenes with my kids. I want to go ahead and get in front of that, Jake. But uncomfortable scenes, absolutely. I cannot wait to make
watching them just like get nervous and like shaking and like, oh, pull out my phone, let me stare. Oh, this just to avoid any sort of conversation or watching the movie.
But what's crazy is, Jake, I'll be doing the same thing.
Oh yeah,
I'll probably be more uncomfortable than my kids. I'll actually have to like, hey, let me go walk the window or something.
All right, SMU 8.5 wins. First year in the ACC.
You skip Notre Dame. Skip Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them. Notre Dame's at 10.5.
A lot of people do forget Notre Dame. No one talks about Notre Dame ever.
What do you think for Notre Dame?
I think Notre Dame only wins 8 games. I'm team from Monday cheese with the Irish.
I'm not feeling Notre Dame this year either. I
don't believe in him.
Riley Leonard scares me because I know that Notre Dame usually has a good offensive line. Riley Leonard likes to run. The offensive line doesn't block 15 yards downfield when he gets loose.
You know who the last running quarterback was at Notre Dame?
Everett Golson.
Or
who was the other? Kaiser. Deshaun Kaiser was also there too.
But I wouldn't consider him a running quarterback.
He ran for like 80 yards on one play against Temple. Trust me, I remember.
He could run. I think he was more like Sam Hartman. He could run, but he would pass it. Like Everett Golson, he was run first, throw later, which is what Riley Leonard is. Other than that, I can't think of it.
I think A&M beats Notre Dame in week 1. Like it's in College Station.
Do we like A&M now because Elko's there?
I don't like A&M. Their midnight yell creeps me out. Rebel yell, whatever.
It's a cold.
It creeps me out. I'm kind of scared of it. I don't know if I ever want to go to College Station. I'm kind of afraid that I go there and I'm not allowed to come back.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things like it's Hotel California.
I think USC at the end of the year, I think by then Miller Moss could be pretty good. And Riley Leonard's health it scares me because if he goes down, like Steve Angeli, I think is their backup. You know, they play Florida State. Now, they don't have a ton of tough games in here. Stanford, they should wipe. Georgia Tech, they should win. Navy, they should win. They have Army and Navy this year.
I don't know about Georgia Tech, though. Georgia Tech is sneaky going to be a really good football team this year.
If it was in Atlanta, I'd feel different, but
it is.
Home.
It's in Atlanta. It's at a neutral site, but it's in Atlanta.
Played in neutral because they played 3 neutral site games this year. That's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. But the Navy a neutral site, Georgia Tech at a neutral site, and I believe
it's Army as a neutral site.
Army is a neutral site. So at least Notre Dame loves the troops.
Yeah, I think they beat Purdue, but 10.5 is a lot. Asking them to go to 11 wins, I don't see it. I think they lose at least 2 games.
Yeah, I think they win 8. So you're going under?
Yeah, I'm going under. 11, I'm not buying that. I will 1000% be picking the under for that one. Notre Dame has just faltered too much lately in the last couple of years against teams they shouldn't as well.
Does Freeman get fired if they win 8 games?
No, I don't think this is not a year that's like make or break for them. I think last year was more of a like they need to get their act in order. SMU 8.5 wins, first year in the ACC. What you think?
Over.
That was quick.
Yeah. So, well, spoiler: if you haven't listened to our ACC preview episode, you're a scumbag. So go watch it. So cut off right now. Go watch it, or listen to it. Can you watch it, Jake? Is it on the YouTubes?
It is on the YouTubes.
It's on the YouTubes. Go watch it. I think they win at least. I think they win 10 games. They're going to beat Nevada. HCU. Don't sleep on the HCU Huskies. BYU win. TCU win. Stanford win. Pitt win. Boston College maybe win. I think win. Virginia win. Cal is up in the air. I think they're at least an 8-win team. And the over-unders at 8.5. I think 9 or 10 wins. I think they get 9 or 10 wins.
Looking at this schedule, it's hard to believe that like a year ago they were in a different conference because now they're not only playing BYU and TCU in non-conference games. Cal and Stanford are conference games.
Right, which is that's disgusting.
Overall weird. Nevada, Houston Christian, BYU, TCU, Stanford,
Excuse me.
Duke, Boston College, Cal, Virginia. Yeah, I think there's 9 wins in there. I think they should get to 9 wins. I don't think they beat Florida State. That's the only game that really sticks out to me that's like probably a loss. I think they can beat Pitt. Duke could be tougher. Boston College should win. Yeah, I look at Florida State as really the only game that's like this is going to be the tough one. Other than that, like they could win any of these other ones. And they get Florida State at home. They're not going to Florida State. Louisville should be probably tough too.
Louisville will be tough. And like again, go back and listen to the ACC episode. I'm not the biggest fan of Florida State this year. I tried to remove my bias. I wore an American flag shirt, so that way I wasn't a Clemson fan that day. But I'm not huge on Florida State this year. I really think I think they're overhyped this year. I think the fact that anyway, go listen to the episode.
Your favorite team, South Carolina.
Formerly favorite.
Formerly. It's 5.5.
If we're on the trust tree, I was a big Carolina fan growing up, even though my whole family is Clemson fans. Went to Clemson and told my coach, who was a big South Carolina fan, shout out Coach Love. I said, listen, Coach, I'm not going to be a traitor to South Carolina. I'll wear a South Carolina shirt under my Clemson pads. That didn't happen. But anyway, I think South Carolina wins 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think they're at 6 wins. I want to trash them so bad. I think they're right at 6 wins. They have
6 wins in there.
Old Dominion.
Yeah.
Akron.
Yeah.
I think they could beat A&M. It's at home. Don't sleep on playing South Carolina at home at night.
Okay.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Wofford. Oh,
yeah.
And then I skipped. I think Kentucky. I think they can beat
Clemson.
Kentucky. They ain't beating Clemson. They're coming to Clemson. They ain't beating Clemson. They broke our streak. We got to start it back up. They ain't beating Clemson. They ain't beating Clemson.
The concern is they have a quarterback that's thrown like 4 passes ever.
5.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's Robbie Ashford, who I guess has thrown a handful more. He's thrown 9, my bad. And so combined, they've thrown less than 15 passes. Now, luckily, they have Old Dominion, but I'm going to go under. I'm going under. There's a lot of people online that are not a fan of why am I blanking on the coach's name right now?
Shane Beamer.
Yes, Shane Beamer. There are a lot of people that are not a fan of him. I think that he is in a tough spot. I think even if he gets fired from South Carolina, he's going to go and be a coordinator somewhere else, an offensive coordinator again, and be hired at another school and within like 2 years.
He still recruits well. I mean, and think about this, guys. Like he's competing against Clemson. He's competing against Georgia. He's competing against Florida State, in recruiting. And he's
anybody that
so many people.
Any 4-star that's out of the South is going to be recruited by every SEC school for the most part. And there's even teams up in the Big 12 and the Big 10 that are looking for them now too.
But he's done a really good job of getting guys out of the DC area. I mean, just last week they got Lex Cyrus, who is he essentially lives next to Penn State. I think he's in Harrisonburg. Is it
Harrisburg, the capital.
Harrisburg, yeah. He's in Harrisburg,
about 90 minutes south of State College.
Right. And they just went and got him to come play wide receiver at South Carolina. It's like he's a good recruiter. That's the reason Spencer Rattler came there. I'm blanking on the tight end's name that came there 2 years ago because of that.
They had Jaheim Bell, and then
they had Jaheim Bell, Marshawn Lloyd. I think Marshawn. I have a conspiracy theory. So Marshawn Lloyd came to South Carolina because he wanted to stay close to home. He's from Maryland, and then he transferred to USC. I think he accidentally transferred to USC. I think he meant to stay at South Carolina and thought that USC was the same thing. So I'm putting that out there on the line now. But yes, I think they go over. Shane Beamer is a love him or hate him. I like what he tries to do, but he does annoy me a little bit. He annoys me a little bit.
Yeah, the inexperience at quarterback scares me. I think they beat Old Dominion. I think they beat Akron. They beat Vanderbilt. They beat Wofford. So there's 4.
But they play at Kentucky. They play at Alabama. They play at Oklahoma, and they play at Clemson. I mean,
like Kentucky and A&M are the only 2 that really stick out there. Like I'm gonna say under for South Carolina this year.
Dang it! You know what, Jake? We put him on here because I wanted to slander him a little bit, but I ended up gassing him up.
And then I was the one that ended up saying under for him.
Shout out Nick Harbaugh. I think he had about 500 yards of me yesterday when I was playing college football. 25. He is a cheat code in that game.
Yeah, everybody's saying that he's a cheat code. But don't play your rival on Heisman mode the very very first game, right?
Yep, good piece of advice. Not from personal experience, just a good piece of advice.
Louisiana Tech. ChatGPT gave us this for our last one because we need one more. I don't even know anything about Louisiana Tech this year.
Nope. I like the coach.
Who is their coach?
Don't remember his name, but I like him. I remember he was a good old ball coach when he came to Clemson last year. Real classy guy, stand-up cat. But his name is slipping my name or my brain.
Sonny Crumby.
Give me a second. Sonny Crumby. Love me some Sonny Crumby. Dude can coach ball. No, I do like him for real. Like I like the culture he's building there. But I don't know anything outside of that. I know Sonny Crumby. I believe Sonny Crumby used to coach at SMU. Did he not?
I believe so. They went 3-9 last year, with their 3 wins being FIU, UTEP, and Northwestern State. Northwestern State located in Louisiana, not Northwestern like Big Ten Northwestern.
Isn't Northwestern State where it was Ron played Go Tigers?
Sure.
I think that's where you played. Go Tigers.
So they're 4.5. They do get Kennesaw State, brand new team. They get Nichols. I don't know where Nichols is, but it's I know it's an FCS team.
It's at Nichols.
Middle Tennessee, who I'm not super high on, and New Mexico State, who I'm not super high on. I don't know. Screw it. Let's say the over.
Yeah, just because I like Sonny Crumby, I'm going over as well. I'm a big over guy.
Well, I almost finished mine. Did you finish yours?
Oh, yeah, I finished my beer, bud. That was a good 4.2.
Oh, it's gone up throughout it.
I think it's got to be it's a 4.1. It's a 4. I'm staying at 4. I'm staying at 4.
Well, big shout out to Somewhere in Particular, Sit Brewing here in Columbus. Shout out for them for supplying the beer for tonight. Might be hearing their name again soon. We'll see.
You could be. A couple other breweries coming down the pike. Are they not, Jake?
You never know. Appreciate everybody listening. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Walk on Red Shirts. Follow Will at Walk on Moose on social media. And that's been another episode of Beer Ball and Banter, and cannot wait to do another beer sometime here soon.
That's right. Cheers.
Cheers.